Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang the bombs bursting in gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
Steve Morris.
How you doing, Steve?
Doing well, Tom. How about you?
I'm a little fired up. So I just probably should put this out there now. The viewer discretion on today's show. Those words that I don't usually use.
You gonna opine a lot? You know, a lot of editorials today.
Yeah. I'm not going to edit any of my words, so it's too much work.
Nah, he may edit them. You might not know that he edits them, but if there's anything,
Well, that's true. It depends how crazy I get. I've had enough. And I don't even want to get into it yet because I want to have a good part of the beginning of the show. But yeah, enough's enough. But yeah, how's it going? We started the show a little later this morning. It's 11:30 now. I had a haircut at 10, so I was like, I don't have time to get to the air, do the show, edit it, do everything, and then I'd have to come back. And I was like, well, you know what? So me and Lydia went down and finished painting, and hopefully I'll have time after this, before the school board meeting, to go and I just got to get some loam at the land to put around a spot, where I took the porch off, and then one piece of press treated plywood to put against the wall because it was under the porch, and it's an old brick. It's real crappy, so it'll just look better, and it'll keep it from any snow or anything getting in the basement or any of that kind of stuff. But so finally I'll have that wrapped up, and then tomorrow I can do the show and spend a full day working at the land trying to get. The goal is to try to pour a pad next week. So, and I haven't checked the weather yet, but hopefully.
good luck with all that.
Yeah, thanks. You'll be driving. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Some random dates.
Yeah.
Don't know when I'm leaving. Don't know when I'll be back.
You still don't know?
I'm just saying that in case
Oh,
anybody's
okay.
watching the show.
Oh, okay.
They have a little OPSEC,
Yeah.
operational security.
Well, so next week, I don't know, I think Nikki said she'd come in one day. She said for 10 minutes. I'm like, well, the show's not 10 minutes. You're not going to sit there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I should do a little interview with you, talk about something.
No. So we should just do.
Probably not her job.
No. We don't need to talk about her job. We just talk about stuff we talk
Yeah.
about. We'll have her
Local
perspective.
happenings.
We'll have the Mrs. Morris perspective of everything. Honestly, because you're gone, we'll probably just spend the whole show talking about you.
Well, hopefully nice things.
We'll see. I know how you talk about her and everything, and you're nice. So I'm just curious. Or will it be like that husband of mine? I walked in to get my hair cut this morning, and the two girls, Lisa and Brittany, it was funny. They're like, yeah, we're just bitching about men. And I'm like, and Lydia went in with me, and I'm like, I'm the only guy in here. I'm like, oh, well, go for it. It's all good.
Good thing you got basically a buzz cut.
A quick haircut, yeah. So it wasn't
If they
too
were
long.
too angry, they could have been like, guys.
Yeah.
I got my hair cut this morning, too.
Nice. Andrew hasn't seen mine yet. I cut it shorter than normal because last time I grew quicker, and I felt like I should have had a haircut 2 weeks ago, and so, yeah, whatever.
No, there's a school board meeting tonight, so I need to.
Look all dapper.
I don't know about dapper, but
Better, normal.
cleaned up.
Cleaned up.
Probably trim my beard up a little bit.
Yeah, you know.
If I have time.
How's the garden looking?
We got a full grocery bag full of stuff, so we picked most of the kohlrabi because some of them I let grow too big. I didn't realize the size they're supposed to be. So
Those are those cabbage
yeah,
thingies.
so we'll give you one or two. I don't know. She's making you up a treat bag. Got a lot of burgundy beans, pole beans, wax beans. I think I have enough cucumbers to make probably 3 or 4 jars of pickles, so I'll probably
Nice.
do that tonight or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow.
Nice. You pick any tomatoes yet?
We've picked 2. Like yesterday when I was out trellising and trimming the bottoms, for the airflow and everything, I had some like rot on the bottom of them, which I had watched a video on. Either I don't know what I did wrong, but something. So I trimmed those off and just tossed them out in the woods. But mostly cucumbers, beans, the cabbage, some peppers,
Nice. Getting there.
shishito pepper, some candy cane, something that I got from Ocean State, or
Nice.
it was like a filler.
I didn't even get to the land yesterday at all. Like, it was just a long day. And then Andrew had to go to, Alicia's college for something. And then we had a shooting league. And then, so the time I got home, it was like a little after 6:30. And I was just like, yeah. So I haven't even seen my garden.
Actually, I
since
want to say it was closer to like 7
it was
because
later, yeah.
all I did was water. I just went down there and
Yeah.
watered. I did a little bit of trimming. No, I did some weed eating last night.
Nice.
I was out there till like 8:15,
Hopefully-
8:30. It was
I'm
dark.
hoping,
by
because
the
we have the
time.
meeting tonight, hopefully Andrew will go up and do some weeding. And I haven't even, like I said, I haven't seen the garden since like Wednesday. No, yesterday was Wednesday. Thursday, Tuesday. I'm getting my dates confused. Yeah, so I should definitely have a couple more cucumbers.
Oh, I
up
picked
there.
some potatoes too. I pulled up one. I think it was a white potato that was from the bag of. There was another
Nice.
bag of potatoes that had just gone bad, and I think Nikki counted 20 potatoes off of it.
Wow.
They're not very, they're.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do it because they're dying back, but they're not quite. The
Right.
potatoes still grow a little bit, so
Right.
it just knows that not to pull any up for another week or so.
Nice. No, it's coming. I'm excited to go up just to see, because the other day when I went up the pumpkin, I was like, holy cow, like it was probably 4 feet long. And the day I saw it, it was like, small. And so I'm hoping to go up and I want to start to see like vegetables. Like I have a couple of those, I think they're acorn squash on there. I like to kind of start to see some more stuff come in, because that would be exciting. Or I'm hoping maybe see some corn soon too. It's getting pretty tall. I got some of it's probably close to 4 feet.
I gotta go. I did notice today I finally got some scallops for my winter squash. I did some scallops, so there's a bunch of those now.
Nice.
So the squash is looking great.
Yeah, you had some nice
Got like
squash.
5 or 6 good sized spaghetti squashes already.
My zucchini plants are still kind of small, but I think a couple are flowered. So
We picked a zucchini last night and it looked like an eggplant, so I had to look up. Did I plant something different? But
little different?
It's from the female flower didn't develop properly enough as it was. The bee, whatever, spread the pollen out, so that's why it was misshapen. But it looks just like an eggplant, but it's a zucchini.
Right. Run it.
So I got my first zucchini.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't, just cucumber so far. Tomatoes are there.
I'm surprised Nikki didn't pick. There's another zucchini out there that's ready to go. I don't know.
Maybe she missed it.
She might have.
I was pointing stuff out to you. I'm like, oh, you got a squash here? And you're like, really? And it's like, oh, wow. It's crazy because it just suddenly, like if we got some rain today, tomorrow I go out there, I'm like, where the hell did that come
your
from?
Tomatoes will be like
Yeah.
growing into the 3 cages over. A couple of your tomatoes anyway. The ones that are in the back, I don't think they're getting enough sunlight. The 2 small ones in the
Oh,
corner.
because they're hiding behind the.
That one that's really
Yeah, that's
thick.
probably true. They're big. They're huge. Yeah, probably should have cut them, but I don't know. So I was like, yeah.
Well, luckily, Mrs. Morris walked through today and pointed out
Things
what all
you did
I
wrong.
need to do and some tomatoes that still need work.
See what I'm saying? This is perfect. Next week she can tell me, yeah, I walked through the garden the other day and I showed Steve what he was doing wrong. Try telling him all the time. He just doesn't listen.
That's basically how it goes.
I told Lydia, because she's going to Mass with Paige, I think, Tuesday or something. I said, well, you do the show with me on Monday. Okay, because they've been bugging me about coming on anyway, so, all right, do the show with me. Because doing it alone is just not going to be, no, not fun.
Well, I mean, people do it all the time on TV.
I know, but I'm not a professional by no means.
Just put you some note cards up that
I'll just
way,
put
look
JJ
directly
there.
into the camera.
I'll just look at JJ.
JJ would probably sit in this chair perfectly the whole
Just-
time if you told him.
Put the headphones on him, some sunglasses on him.
Well, it's really nice now because the puppy is starting to. Well, JJ has welcomed the puppy now, so they actually play. Because before, JJ would just snip at him and he'd run off and go lay down. But now he actually plays and gives him attention, so the puppy is learning at an exponential speed now. Because he sees JJ getting a treat and he puts one and one together and gets two. He's not a communist. He can still do math.
Nice.
You
Sounds
never heard
good.
that joke?
No.
That's like 1984 type stuff. 1 + 1 = 3 because I told you so. Even though you know that 1 + 1 is 2, don't believe your lying eyes. It's all right.
That's not 1984. That's 2022.
Seems like it.
Oh,
Every day.
yeah.
You gonna play that clip later?
Which one?
There's nothing to see here where Biden does the whole try to do a Jedi mind trick on the country with inflation.
Oh, yeah. I have that clip.
Yes, I don't know if that's 1984 or Star Wars where he's just trying to use
this
the
is-
Force on us.
Right now, I could write a book about 2022, call it nonfiction, or sci-fi, whatever, and people would buy it. It's like, it's not funny. That's legit. That's like what's happening. 100%. Yeah.
Well, I don't think 1984 is funny.
No, not to us lowly people down here.
Well, we mentioned 1984 a lot, but Animal Farm is apropos, I think, in today's day and age.
I never watched Animal Farm. I
It's
read it.
It's like an 80-page book. You could knock it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm confusing Animal Farm with Animal House, is it? With
Yeah.
John Belushi? and I've never seen that either, too. I know Belushi is funny, but yeah, it's all a joke now. It's
Some pigs are more equal than others, or some animals are more equal than others. It's been 20, 30 years since I read it, but the theme is still the same of what's going on is,
yeah.
interesting. I would recommend reading it. Put it on your reading list. Animal Farm, 1984.
Just so I can predict.
Which, by the way, I want to reread 1984. So
You just have to
whenever
text
you're
me when
done
I'm
with it.
home so I can bring it to you. I have no time to read that book right now.
I watched the movie a few years ago just because I'd never seen the movie.
There's a movie.
Mhm.
See, now you're talking. I won't
Just
have
watch
to
the
read it.
movie. It's pretty.
Similar.
Yeah.
So, as we get into today's,
I mean, you know what I mean? Because I watched the movie 20 years after I read the book, probably 15, 25 years. And so watching the movie, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this guy. You know what I mean? So I can't tell you if it follows the book exactly because of the time between reading and watching.
close enough. It'll give me the.
It'll give you
general-
the gist.
the gist
Big
of
Brother.
Yeah. So, I found this. It's a meme. I'm going to put it up, and then I'll keep it up for a little bit so that you can see it as I go through it. I've always wondered about the one on the right, way to the right. So, back to school reminder, kids will be going back to school very soon. And this is just for a bus and what you're supposed to do. So, obviously, you got a 2-lane highway. The lights are out. Say stop. You stop. If you're in this is a 5-lane highway, but this would be something like I'd almost think like Washington Street in Claremont, minus the center lane here. But so if the bus is stopped for kids to get out, you have to stop, even though it's 4 lanes. Now this is where I've always been confused: is this divided highway thing? So if it's unpaved or barricaded, and the bus is over there. So for me, this is what last year, you know, over by like where Dole Rollin used to be in Guild, you know, what's Ruger's now. But right through there, there's a little street over, you know, and there's like grass in between. There's like a little street. So this would pertain to that. And I'm like, I don't know. Am I supposed to stop? Like, he's letting the kids off for that street, but because there's not, you know, it's just grass between, but it's not far. You can see it. Like, it's right there. I was like, am I supposed to stop? So now I see that, according to this, that just obviously use caution, but you don't have to stop for the bus that's on the other street letting kids off over there. But because, like I said, right there, it's like, what is this? Probably dirt, and then it's the other street. So, so I saw this. I was like, oh, you know, I'll throw this up because if I didn't know, I saw that and I was like, so I've always wondered. Usually I'll stop because I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, I always.
They
stop
take this
just
is very serious stuff, and they take it serious as they should take it serious because that's someone's child that's getting off the bus, and some jackass comes through and doesn't stop because they're in a hurry or whatever. Like, no, it's, you know. So I don't want to do it wrong. I want to make sure I do it right. And so I saw this, and I was like, okay, that explains, you know. And maybe they went over that in driver's ed, but it's such a kind of an
I don't
odd
remember
thing. I don't
learning
think so.
that in driver's
I don't remember
ed.
learning that. I remember, you know, stop for a school bus, like that's normal,
Right.
obviously. But this part, the whole divided highway thing, which this is more divided highway, like probably in a city, you know, if you got barriers here in the middle, and but I would think this would pertain to this other situation in Guile, where there's that side road, you know, where the post office and stuff is in Guile, and then there's, you know, Sunapee Street. You're fine through there because obviously they're letting the children off for that side street, but you know, you can see the lights and the sign. So I figured I'd share that.
I always just use caution because
Yes,
if it were
always.
my kid walking across the street, I want people to stop. Now I've been in the situation in the middle on John Stark, and people like angry at me where, like, you know, if there was a passing lane one time, there.
Oh, you still have to stop.
Yeah, I
yeah,
stopped,
yeah.
and, like,
Yeah, you still have to stop.
a guy went around me.
Yeah. See, that's why we're talking about this. Just don't do it. Like, and if you get caught doing this, it should be like huge fine. Not, well, don't do it again. No, screw that. You want to keep driving, it's, you know, $1,000 fine for making that mistake because that could be someone's life. You know, or you run a stop sign accident. You know, okay, that's a little different. Smarten the hell up, but the bus, they're letting kids off.
Yeah, well, I think
We're
that
rear
was
end the boss.
making sure people know is a
Yeah.
first step. Of,
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Show
and they may
people.
cover it in drive. I'll have to ask Zeta if she learned that in driver's ed.
I would think this part, common
Right,
sense.
that part.
But the divided, because we don't really have that around here, you know, I don't know of another area really that, well, I mean, I guess back to Claremont, on Broad Street up by the fire station, you got their common, if they were letting kids off on the right side of it, so heading towards the school, you would be fine on the other side because it's such a space between, even though it's like the same road. So, I mean, this would pertain more to over there, I guess, but for me, it came up over there on Sunapee Street there. I was
Well,
like,
basically, what I get from this is if you're on John Stark Highway and
Yes.
there's a passing lane, you don't go around.
no.
You stop
Yes, you are not supposed to do that.
for whoever that was. I mean, that was a few years ago, but
Right.
I'm generally not out and about on the streets now when the buses are picking up. Now, maybe dropping off, but
Right. Yeah. We'll skip this stuff. So, school, we're meeting tonight, 5 o'clock, Lou Thompson room. Quite a bit on the agenda, so should be a good meeting. If you want to speak, public comment, whatever, show up, sign up, you can speak at the beginning. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else really to say about it. I see there's a little Connex box out in front of the track there, so I wonder if they're getting ready maybe to do the tower, put the tower up. 'Cause I see the
I saw that.
Pads all
I drove
poured.
back that way so I
Yeah.
could look at it.
Pads all poured. I went to take the back way, and Oak Street's closed. They must be taking up part of the road or fixing something, or I don't know. Because I'm working on Belknap, so I went up and I took Pine Street, and then I was like, oh, man, closed up further, so I then go down Oak and then go up.
Well, they were painting the stripes yellow this morning, so
Really?
that slowed me down a few seconds.
Yeah, not really a huge deal.
But you know what I mean? Like once they got into like downtown, like at the red light there in town.
Yeah, I noticed they had road work this morning too. They were doing changing some signs and stuff out too, and I think it's probably because they're going to be paving. I
hope so.
think this is the.
Yeah, they weren't striping downtown. It was John Stark, and then I think they went and moved. I don't know where, but I saw the signs. Maybe up Sunapee Street or something.
Yeah, and they had some signs by Irvin they were changing or something as well.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
the traffic was.
Yeah.
Because they had everything shifted over.
Yeah, yeah. So,
While trying to avoid the yellow line, so I didn't get any paint on.
I know I hate when they I've seen cars and drive by and I'm like, the car's all yellow, so you know they run over something they shouldn't have, or because it's not always the driver's fault. Sometimes they didn't mark something, or I've had that before, like cross
Well,
something. Like,
one
oh,
day
this
I
was
was
supposed to be
behind
here.
them. Remember, it was like last year. They sprayed it. It wasn't even in the shape of a line.
When the rain washed it all away and they had to redo it.
Yeah, there's a couple of.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like,
But I was
is
behind
this?
them whenever it was like, I was like, do you not see how bad it looks? Do you remember that?
Have you ever
It was like a big blur instead
Yeah.
of double striped. It was like a big glob of paint.
Yeah, so if you were drunk, you would think that line that's what it would look like if you were drunk.
Probably.
And you're, obviously not, because you don't drink and drive. And what the freaking hell? Pull over. Someone needs to come get me. My eyes have gone bad. Like the freaking road's all blurry. Have you ever watched that? Like someone would do lines, and you swear they must have been drunk because they went like this. And I'm like, I hope they don't pay them for those. Like I know so many times doing work, say if I had a dig in the street or something, I would end up, the town would come out and like they hold me to like that street has to be good. If it settles, they're gonna call me and say you need to come fix it. And I'm like, I hope they hold the other people to the same standards that I'm held to, because those lines, I've seen them before, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean,
you and I could do a better job with.
Yes, with our horrible skills, we could do
Go
it.
buy a can of spray paint and put a chalk line down, and we'd be better off than they are.
I proceeded to tell my customer, I went and just let her know what was going on. Like, I'll be done this afternoon or whatever. And she said, oh, it looks good. And I just straight up told her, I was like, listen, I just want to I'm not good at trim, and I'm not good at painting, like the finish stuff. Like, this isn't Foster's painting. I'm just so you know. Like, but she was, oh, no, it looks good. Like, and I think it just, for me, I hold myself to a
You're
standard.
your own worst critic?
Yes, and trust me, I would.
You're acting like the Morris boys?
Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want anyone, a professional, to go look at that and be like, "What happened?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, "There's this trim board where the porch come off, where it comes across and then down, where it was vinyl siding, and like the board, so it goes up and then down. Like, I just pieced it in and then painted the yellow so it blends in. Honestly, I was like, it looks like crap. What are you gonna do with it? Besides tear the siding off and re-side the whole side of that house, which obviously the customer don't want that. She wanted to do as cheap as possible. The mission was getting the old rotten porch and dishing off, and so she's happy with it. But I just very critical of. I should have sprayed it, because then it would have been.
Andrea got in your head.
Well, I still should have sprayed it. I thought. See, I worried about overspray. Been there, done that with painting car. So I was like, if I do that, I'll probably have freaking paint on the lady's car or something. I'm just, it's just, I caulked everything because there was a lot of like joints that, some of them had to fill quite a bit. Like I said, it's an old house and you try to put trim on it. Nothing lines up. It's not like doing something with your house that, we could do that. Things are straight. And no, this house is from the early 1900s. And,
So the Historical Society will not be hiring Timothy Beards.
hey, it blends with the rest of the house. I mean, it looks about the same. Now, my dad could make all that look good. Like, he's been doing it since like 40 years. So, like, my dad can make it.
Well, what
Foster's
what
could
you
have
got to
painted
tell
that
yourself
movie.
is you let the customer know that you're more of a demo guy.
Yes.
She was okay with it. So this is a learning experience. And so now you just do your after action review and like, all right, what could I have done differently?
Yes. Professional painting, you want Foster's, you want Kim Williams' company, you want Egger. You do not want Tim Beard. Now, if you want me to tear down something, site work something,
I wouldn't, but I mean, but you have a learning curve. So now you know you need to spray. So
yeah,
next time
if I
you paint
sprayed
something,
it.
practice with your spraying, and you get better, and then you'll be.
And
able
honestly, it's not as bad as I'm making out to be. The trim's more the thing that, because once it was painted and it dried, it actually doesn't look too bad. But the caulking part, I thought the paint would hide it better. Like,
well, you know, I sometimes like I've been very critical of myself, as you pointed out. But the more and more I watch, like videos of like self help, how to do it yourself, like not everything lines up perfectly. So, and this is, you know, they claim to be professionals. It looks really good, but even like on an install of a 3-piece tub set or whatever, like one section will have caulk like that thick, and it'll go down to like nothing because it's just the way that
yeah,
the boards are. Because when they were building it, maybe they didn't space it right, so then you got to add
Right.
something. But even though it's level, you wouldn't think it would be because you know they show you the level allegedly. And then you know what I mean. So I wouldn't beat yourself up too hard about
Yeah.
that because I'm glad that I've seen a few of that happen in more than one. Because I'm always like, why isn't this perfectly straight? It should be a straight line of caulk. And to see that, then I'm like, all right, maybe I'm too hard on myself.
yeah. It's because the people that do this every single day learn tricks.
Right. So they have
So
they know where a shim needs to go exactly.
Yeah, they just know
or-
little. Because I have a trim board that starts out as like a lip on the top and then it goes to nothing. But it's because it's the old house, and I just put the siding over the wood that was there, you know, which I think most people would do the same. It just blends in with what's there. But now, if that was a new house, of course it wouldn't be like that because everything would be straight and square. And so building a new house is a hell of a lot easier than working on, you know,
Right, 'cause
an old
everything
house.
hasn't settled as much.
Exactly. Everything's changed, turned. The wood they used then is not like today. Like the 2x4s in the walls were actually 2x4s, roughs on. Today's are 3.5 by 1.5 inch. So it's not really 2x4. They call it 2x4, but it's 1.5 inch by 3.5. So it's little things like that. So then you're trying to like put it together, and that's why I just ended up strapping a roof and plywooding it. So when I did the shingles, I'm like, so that way it came out good because I'm like, if I try going over this stuff, it's not going to look good. And I mean, the roof came out really good. It's really important that it doesn't leak.
Yeah, well, it's rained pretty hard since you put that on there. And
Yeah,
you
no.
hadn't gotten any complaints. So
If that roof leaks, I'm gonna be pissed because literally the top 2 feet of that roof before I started had nothing on it, nothing. So if she wasn't getting water then, and I mean I ice and water shield the whole roof first, and then I shingled the whole thing, so it shouldn't happen. All right, so one little bit of not national news yet, but Boston. Just another thing that set me off. So, protesters demand Boston change the name of historic Faneuil Hall. So, social justice protesters, so losers without jobs, gathered outside Boston City Hall Wednesday, demanding that the city rename Faneuil Hall a prehistoric pre-Revolutionary War landmark that is a popular destination for tourists. You ever been to Faneuil Hall?
I have.
It's pretty cool. Been inside. It's really neat. Activists say Faneuil's Hall's namesake, which is Peter Faneuil, he was a slave owner and a human trafficker. I've never heard of anyone in the colonial days being a human trafficker. For the CIA trafficking humans. But, so, apparently, he must have had slaves and said, we should rip it down because, Now, I just want to point out that they might not have been slaves per se, but you could argue damn close that the Irish, which built New York City, like all of New York City in the 1900s, Irish, not black, Irish, they didn't have a very great life. White people have been slaves longer than black people throughout time, and every color, every race,
Every-
everything.
There's been
slaves.
slaves throughout history.
Exactly.
This isn't some uniquely American.
So don't you
I mean, it's
losers
just, like,
do something actual productive? And hey, you know what? Maybe this milk thing we talked about, maybe that's a real thing. Why don't you work on that? That would be a positive thing. But no, you're the group that wants to erase history because it doesn't fit your rhetoric or your whatever. So some passed. So upon reaching Faneuil Hall, the protesters began singing, and Reverend John Gibbons of Arlington Street Church in Boston delivered an address. I am here now because this is a time for white allies and accomplices to clearly say that our collective future depends on Boston, that speaks honesty about our history while also proclaiming that our future will be unlike our past, Gibbons said, according to the Globe. So we need to get rid of a name because you don't like that this guy, I guess, said slaves. You weren't a slave. I've never owned slaves. You've never owned slaves. No one alive today has ever owned a slave.
Well, there's allegedly slave markets over in Libya right now.
Okay, in the United States. But this is apparently so important. I love the reverend part. That's what pisses me off. You're not a reverend. Like, really? I don't know of any reverends that go around doing this stuff. I mean, there's, the race baiters like Sharpton and Jesse Jackson that Martin Luther King would turn his back on. I can guarantee you if you look down today.
Well, didn't one or both of them march with him?
Yeah. I know Jackson did.
Yeah, I think it was Jackson.
I don't know. It's just a disgrace. And I hope that people in Boston and people in Massachusetts don't cave to this nonsense.
Why not put a placard up that said, hey, Nathaniel Hall, or, whoever's named, I don't know the whole history of it, but I've been there twice. Put a placard up that says, we admonish him for him living like the lifestyle that it was back then across the globe. Granted, slavery started ending different times across different civilizations.
Now, let's keep in mind the North.
The British, I think, ended it.
And keep in mind Boston and the North fought.
But then again, they did have the stuff over in India. They may not be slaves, but it's just like the low-wage workers that we talk about. Like, there's people are living bad lives, so you can have chocolate, so that you can have some.
They don't care
Brazil
about the
nuts.
kids. They literally don't care
if you're eating Brazil nuts.
They don't care about the black kids in Africa harvesting the chocolate for Nestle. They don't care about that. No.
Well, maybe they do, but
they care so much.
But they
No,
do.
we need to change the name because the name's offensive to me. Oh, effing well.
Then don't participate.
Then don't go there. Move out of the city because you just can't take it anymore.
Well, you're a bad person for thinking that. You should change to be what everybody else wants you to be. There's no individualism left in this world.
But in the meantime, and that's not Boston, I don't know where it is, but there's a George Floyd statue, the convict POS that he was. Now, I agree 100% that I don't care if they should put the guy in jail for life that killed him because they murdered him. There's no question whatsoever. That cop's a bad cop. That cop should go to jail forever. But the results of what happened there is ridiculous. The cities they burnt down, the whole thing. But there's a statue of that guy, but this is offensive. That guy held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. But no one talks about that. You want to martyr that guy? Don't you martyr a real person that would stand for something? But, who am I? Some privileged white person, apparently. So privileged. I was out painting this morning. So privileged. So, yeah, that's. I hate when it's local-ish. Like, it's too damn close to home. They already did all this down south, right?
I just don't believe in rewriting history like this. Huh. I mean, he says in there, and then the quote that you read off, to, like, remember our history or whatever, but...
Remember it by erasing it?
No, I'm saying he's saying the right things, but the actions are to rewrite it and act as if the good things that these people did,
And I honestly don't know.
Because then you could argue with me and be like, well, what about the criminals that, were released from jail and they did these great things, but how do you feel about those criminals? I'm like, well, I guess it depends. It's situation dependent, right? Like you can't apply the same thing to everybody like that. That's why they have circumstances involved. So like not every murder is a first degree murder, right? Because there's different circumstances. So you don't just punish everybody the exact same way for everything. And this is just applying anybody that had anything to do, because I think that they're renaming, or it's going to cost $21 million to rename all military bases that are named after Confederate generals.
Because this is what's important right now in the country. This is important.
No,
China wants to demolish you. Russia, all these places hate you. Our education in this country is garbage compared to what it used to be.
All right, these are all like.
But this is what's important.
You giving it time on here is right, because people are going to get mad at you for the things that you said this morning.
Cool.
So, but what I'm saying though is it just keeps driving what I keep saying over and over again is that they just want us all divided and fighting with each other. Like, I would say I disagree with them renaming it just because of that reason. There's got to be something else. Put up a, $100 placard, make it look nice, and talk about the bad things that that although he did all these great things, we can't forget about these. But it's a
I'll be honest,
net positive. Or
I don't
whatever,
know. I don't know anything about him. I know nothing about him. I just know there's a hall down there. It's named after him. Obviously, he's from the North, so the North didn't have slaves. So I don't know the deal there. And someone may come in and be like, "Dude, he was actually really bad, dude, whatever." But the point is, don't you have better things to do than try to change the name of a freaking building?
Right, like everybody should be concerned about.
Why don't you go feed some black people that
$80,000
are on the
IRS
street?
agents they're trying to hire? Like that would be more.
Oh, we'll get to that.
No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I would be spending if I had a platform such as this Reverend. Then that's what I would be talking about is
right.
Because by the way, you're in Boston where they threw basically what we've been taught anyway is that the impetus was taxation without representation. They were mad over tea, and we're getting taxed over, how much air you breathe or animals you have breathing air. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, get rid of your cows.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, instead of bickering over something like this, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? It's bad, whatever, because I don't know anything about him either. I didn't do any research on. Was it Nathaniel? Is that his name? Or is his actual name Nathaniel Hall? I never really understood that. I just know there was a bunch of food places. And
Peter Thaniel.
But anyway, move on. I'll look it up if there's any.
Yeah. All right, I'll do the meme of the day. Stocks are crashing. Shelves are empty. Violence is at an all-time high, and I should give up my guns. Yeah, from my cold, dead hands. Yeah. So I put it in.
Wait, what was it?
Seriously.
I'm just kidding.
I put this after the better part of the show, the less controversial, whatever. And this is totally personal. This is about me, but it's national too. So anybody out there that has the Hartford or the insurance company should cancel it because they're a bunch of shitbags that don't pay their claims like they're supposed to. So they owe Andrea $60,000 for loss of income when the market burnt, and they were the insurance company. So that was a year and 2 months ago, and they still haven't paid us. So Tanner, who's the adjuster we hired to, do a better job than the insurance company, because then he deals with us all the time. So we filed a lawsuit against them, and we have court or something, mediation in November for them to talk about this so they can screw me over. So if you have the Hartford, you should cancel your insurance through the Hartford and go to a company that actually does pay out their claims. God forbid you have a fire or something and need it. Just wanted to get that off my chest.
I'll just say that most insurance companies don't want
I know.
to pay.
But I'm particularly pissed with this one. They're a bunch of scumbags. who've been around for like a long, long time too, which no wonder because they screw their customers. Did you figure it out yet?
Well, it's kind of apropos that he's there protesting because when you look it up, the first thing that it says about it is, and this is from the website nps.gov, for 275 years, Faneuil, which I was saying it with a TH, but it's with an F, Faneuil Hall remains a site of meetings, protests, and debate right up to this very day. Because Revolutionary-era meetings and protests took place so frequently at the hall, successive generations continued to gather at the hall in their own struggles over the meaning and legacy of American liberty. Abolitionists, women's suffragists, and labor unionists named just the largest of groups who have held protests, meetings, and debates at Faneuil Hall. So, I mean, it's a proper place to have a debate over it, but hopefully somebody will, have a debate and not just change something to change it. But, you know what I mean? But it's an important part of our history as a country, apparently, which I didn't realize that when I was walking through there because, again, I just grabbed some snacks or, cause it's a bunch of shops in there, right?
Yeah, it's
As
cool.
well as a meeting place.
Yes, it's awesome.
So the Atlantic Empire of Peter Faneuil was the son of a French Huguenot parents who immigrated to the colony of New York at the beginning of the 1700s. When his parents died, Faneuil came to live with his uncle Andrew Faneuil in Boston. Andrew amassed a fortune as a merchant in town, and evidently Peter became the favored nephew. When Andrew Faneuil died in 1738, Peter inherited the majority of Andrew's estate and business. Virtually overnight, Peter Faneuil became one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest, merchants in Boston. Faneuil traded in many commodities which only increased his wealth and prosperity. However, a significant portion of this prosperity came directly as well as indirectly from human enslavement. Faneuil himself owned enslaved people of African descent in his household, traded extensively in goods produced by enslaved labor, supplied materials that supported plantation economies, and his capital directly funded several voyages to purchase enslaved Africans off the coast of Sierra Leone. It looks like they linked an article to this. With the net proceeds of the same purchase for me for the use of my house, as likely a straight, and this is, I'm just reading this quote, African-American lad as possibly you can, about the age from 12 to 15 years. So what he was asking, I don't understand what that quote is. All right, well, when you start reading this, if it's true, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just one, it's on the National Historical Park for Massachusetts. So, I mean, they're acknowledging that he's.
It's not like that hit it.
He
and
wasn't a good person. I mean, he was sounds like he was an oligarch.
But they all, it was the life back. It was how it was back then.
Right.
It's not acceptable today. Women couldn't vote back then. You wouldn't even dream of that today. Like, okay, now if you're going to tell me, yeah, he used to murder his slaves and he's killed hundreds of them, okay, now I'm all behind you. He's just a murdering POS. Oh, okay, but no, we need to change that after all these years because focus on something else that matters. That would actually help somebody.
I gotcha.
What is that going to do? Nothing. And it's just going to piss people off, which I mean, I'm sure is the whole purpose anyways, but
well, yeah, look how riled up you are. Like, I'm to the point.
It's really about other things, but
no,
it's
I
coming
know.
out early.
I get it. It's just, yeah. They're acknowledging that he wasn't necessarily the nicest guy, so I guess that's not enough.
Right. And all the soldiers that died from the North to abolish slavery wasn't enough, apparently, either. You know. Whatever. Okay. So, I'll just talk about this quick, because...
Yeah, I had one of my relatives that was killed because he wouldn't besmirch the Union or whatever. Like, they moved to Missouri, and because he wouldn't join into the pro-slavery side, they killed him. You can find the article. My dad sent me the article. It's like one of my great somewhere grandparents or something. So I mean, you know, we all have stories like that, I'm sure. There's stories on the other side. At the end of the day, for me, I'm more concerned about preserving the legacy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And
Right.
at the same time, it's apropos that we're talking about where, revolutionaries met, regardless of who it's named after and who bought it, whatever, because they were upset about taxation without representation. And now, after yesterday, they pulled it, but they had a job advertisement for IRS agents who are willing to
We're gonna get right
use
to
a
that.
weapon. Yeah, because I mean, it kind of links into it just from the historical perspective that, the revolution started right there in Boston.
Yeah. So
You know what I'm saying? And it was about taxation without representation. And now,
yeah, so there's an IRS. It's everywhere on the internet at this point. So a job posting. So the major duties of this role: adhere to the highest standards of conduct, especially maintaining honesty and integrity. Then you don't work for the government. Work a minimum of 50 hours per week, which may include irregular hours to be on call 24/7, including holidays and weekends.
why is the
That
IRS working on holidays?
doesn't sound at all like an IRS worker.
And why are they working 50 hours? I thought the normal work week
Yeah.
was 40 hours.
Maintain a level of fitness necessary to effectively respond to life-threatening situations on the job. Life-threatening situations.
As an
Holy
IRS
crap!
agent?
I can't submit my taxes. What is happening? This is life-threatening. I need you here immediately. Nope. Carry a firearm and be willing to use deadly force if necessary. An IRS agent. Huh. Deadly force if necessary. So you're going to come audit me and then I
Well,
don't
the thing
give
that
you my
concerns
taxes?
me is since when does the IRS have policing duties or?
Well, why did they buy $700,000 worth of ammo? Oh, now we know. Apparently they're going to come after me, you, and everybody else, and they must expect to be shot
You need
or
to
something.
read the last one,
Yes.
too, to be fair.
Be willing and able to participate in arrest, execution of search warrants, and other dangerous assignments. So if you're looking for a job and you're a communist and you want to work for the communist government that we have, the IRS, the KGB, this is the job for you.
I almost feel like this is just to make people angry again. Like, why is an armed IRS agent going to show up at my door? What happened to just auditing and coming in, and if you did something wrong, then you get fined? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like, something's not right with this either. Yeah, I don't know. It's concerning from a point of, I did not know that the IRS had, I don't know, policing authority.
Well, here we go. Let's play this clip. This will fit it.
This administration weaponizing the Justice Department and the FBI against political opponents.
Peter, the president believes in the rule of law. The president believes in the independence of the Department of
That's
Justice.
a yes or no? Just
No,
is
that
the
is
White House-
no. It's a yes or a no for you. I'm answering the question. You may not like it, but I'm answering the question, and I'm answering the question, and I'm telling you that we are not going to comment on a criminal investigation. The president has been very clear. I laid out what his thoughts were back on January 7th in 2021 about how he saw the Department of Justice. And I'm just going to leave it there. We're not going to comment from here, from this White House, on a criminal investigation that is currently happening.
Oh, so she's not going to comment yes or no because,
But that's about, what, raiding?
This is about them raiding Mar-a-Lago and them basically using the FBI and the Department of Justice against their political opponents, which, if you look at any of the poll numbers, Trump's surging, Biden can't complete a sentence.
Put his jacket on.
He can't put his jacket on. And so then the lawyer for the whole thing says it was interesting because after searching Trump's car for 10 hours, they removed boxes and personal mementos that Trump had collected during his presidency. It's not clear what other items the FBI confiscated, but they wanted them to shut the cameras off. This is the security cameras at Mar-a-Lago while they're there, and luckily the security said no, which is not normal protocol when they do these searches. That's not part of it. Shut your cameras off. Why? So you guys can plant stuff, or you can do something, because 30 agents to go search a house for supposedly a napkin he wrote something down on, where the President of the United States can declassify.
Is that what it is?
Supposedly. I've heard something about a napkin. But the President of the United States can declassify anything. Anything. As he actually did declassify a lot of stuff from the 2016 election that never came out in the mainstream media, like how they proved without a shadow of the doubt that Hillary Clinton hired foreign operatives, foreign spies, to plant this whole Russian Gate thing on Trump. She should be in handcuffs. She should be doing time. She erased 33,000 emails. She's free. No FBI raid there. Hunter Biden is a crackhead. They have proof of it everywhere. They don't raid his house. His dad is a traitor to the United States. They've proved now that he met with these two Chinese leaders 14 times or 15 times in the West Wing as Vice President of the United States. These are business allies of Hunter Biden. The corruption goes so far beyond what we ever imagined. Everything our forefathers warned us about a government is a government of right now. Every single part of it.
This will be the last time that we see Tim.
Probably.
I am disheartened by all kinds of things that are going on. Hiring IRS agents, arming them.
Tell them they may need to use deadly force. A tax preparer, a tax auditor.
And the first time in history, former president's house has been raided.
Right.
Like that's just
a January 6th circus. It's nothing but a circus. There's no due process in it. They only present one side. It's a joke. There's nothing they can do. They have no constitutional authority. It's just something to throw out there. And they're already saying this whole thing about the FBI raiding Trump's thing just like guaranteed him a win in 2024, because so many people are pissed now. Because here's the thing. Trump is an asshole. I will tell you that 100%. He's not a nice guy, but his policies that he used and had put in place during his term made our country better, and that's what matters to me.
He also made it so that we saw exactly that we had kids in cages down.
Yes, and Biden has more kids in cages than Trump ever had, but nobody ever talks about that. Never. So the more the government goes after Trump, the more I like the guy, because obviously there's something he is trying to do that they don't want him to expose.
He's an outsider.
Right.
He's not part of their
He's
system.
not the swamp that he told us all about. And like he said, they're not after me. They're after me and you and the rest of our listeners and everybody else. He's just in the way.
Yeah, it's disheartening is when you study history, even those that are like on the side and agree that this is okay and that it's okay to hire these IRS agents, it's okay to buy $700,000 worth of ammo, it's okay that ammo is disappearing off of delivery trucks allegedly. That's not okay. And
that's doubling the amount of IRS agents they have. Doubling them.
But you know what I'm saying? It's not okay. Our tax dollars are going overseas. We have sent so much money overseas, and I understand strategic implications. I'm not going to argue that. What I'm saying is the billions and trillions of dollars over the years that have left our country to go to other countries, regardless of, even if it's being used in the sense that they're saying. So let's just say for fairy tale's sake that all that money is actually going to help homeless and to help border protection in all these other countries. At some point, you have to protect our own country. People need to realize that regardless, and you're getting angry about it. I'm annoyed by it.
You should be scared to death.
You should be scared. You should be concerned and calling up your congressmen and women and saying, I don't want my money going overseas anymore. I don't agree that we need more IRS agents because eventually people are going to run out of money to give to the government or food or gas because the economy is collapsing.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Well, that's what it appears when you look at all this in its totality, that something is not right. And those of us that pay taxes, whenever push comes to shove, if I need money to live or to send overseas, I'm not going to send my money overseas anymore. And I'm not saying that as anything other than survival. And most other people should be feeling that way.
Nobody in this country should pay a damn penny to the IRS. Nobody. They do not represent you. Like I've said many times, your state taxes you benefit from that with the highways, with all that. That's state taxes. Your school, that's state taxes. Property taxes in New Hampshire.
Is it Gosar? He called for a 10-year moratorium of sending any money overseas. As a congressman, I can get behind that.
There's a CBS there's a CBS documentary out apparently right now that only 30% of the weapons they sent to Ukraine actually made it there. So I wonder where they went.
Did they update that? You saw what happened with that, right?
No.
So and I haven't followed up on it, but that story, from what I understand of it, they put out like a tweet or something saying, tune in tonight. And then they had like a preview of it. And it says all those things. And then people were getting mad because rightfully so. But then, you also had people that were outraged. I think I would call for the wrong reasons. But anyway, so then they took it down and said, we're going to update this. So they got called out on telling the truth, basically, and how it's... And this was back in April, by the way, so it might be better now. But this was as it was in April when we were sending a bunch of stuff over there. And anyway, they ended up, changing it and, changing the story up because people didn't like what they were being told. They didn't like the truth, allegedly.
They also said
right, because they were like, well, you can't be saying that only 30% made it. So I think they're changing it to...
You're CBS. You're supposed to be the government mainstream media, so...
Well, you're supposed to, because I went on a diatribe about this, but they're supposed to be the ones providing us with information that we can base our facts off of. That's why, I don't get as angry as you anymore, because I don't even really know what's true anymore in the grand scheme of things, because it's harder and harder to find a news outlet you can trust. That's why I go to Substack and read through all those, and then I try to go, if there's source documentation, I try to go read the source documentation, because that's really where you can use your discernment. Because everybody has an agenda, right? You look at their adjectives and the way they describe something, so you can kind of figure out what angle they're coming from. But, there's just a lot of things aren't right, and it's not making any sense of how...
No, this is third world country stuff. This isn't Cuba. This isn't Venezuela. This isn't Russia. This isn't China.
It's not supposed to be. I mean, we were sold a bill of goods
Exactly.
that this is the...
Thus, the Second Amendment. That's why there's a Second Amendment, because of what you see right here today. That's why it was written.
It's for hunting.
Oh, that's right. Hunting. I forgot it was a hunting video. Or a hunting.
And now we're going to tax you, and you're not going to be allowed to hunt anymore, because you just need to eat crickets. Go outside.
That's true.
You can hear them crying out at night. Just go round you some up. Vanity Fair's got a nice video out there you can watch about how tasty they are with some movie star.
There's another report. The FBI reportedly delivering subpoenas related to the 2020 electors and to the Republican Pennsylvania lawmakers. So not any other ones, just the Republican ones. And
look, Tim, at the end of the day, if you take a step back, take your emotions out of it, since 2000, every election has been challenged, and verbally
right,
and more by the loser. But now it's punishable if you
Talk about it.
talk about the 2020 election as if there was something untoward there. But, a lot of people don't even accept that Trump was a legitimate president in 2016, that Hillary won, that they still believe Russia somehow got involved and changed, whatever.
Listen, folks, don't smoke crack like Hunter Biden. It's not good for you.
No, but so
Let's play. I have a clip.
there's
here.
a obvious dichotomy of ideas of what it means to be an American. Or I don't know if dichotomy. There's a split. There's a schism. That's probably a better word. There's a schism between what it means to be an American. Some of us believe that being an American is being free, in pursuit of life, liberty, and property, having good things. And then my own personal take, my opinion on this is that we all got comfortable, not just my generation and your generation, but my parents' generation. We were all comfortable that people were doing the right things because that's what we were taught in school. That's what we were hearing on the news, that, all these things are working for our benefit. And at the end of the day, there's a group that's in there that's not working for mine and your benefit. Because if they were, they would stop sending money overseas. They would focus inward. They would turn the direction towards us. But their response to that is, let's hire agents to go be armed and collect taxes, because they know eventually people are going to choose to feed their family and put gas in their car over giving money to the Ukraine or whoever. To Ukraine.
So let's watch this video I have from the President of the United States, who got 81 million people to vote for him from his basement. Watch this.
Before I begin today, I want to say a word about the news that came out today relative to the economy. Actually, I just want to say a number: 0. Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation in the month of July. 0%. Here's what that means. While the price of some things went up last month, the price of other things went down by the same amount. The result, 0 inflation last month. But people are still hurting, but 0 inflation last month. Economists look at a measure of inflation that ignores food and energy prices, and they call it core inflation. That's about the lowest amount in several months. When you couple that with last week's booming jobs report of 528,000 jobs created last month and 3.5% unemployment, it underscores the kind of economy we've been building. We're seeing a stronger labor market where jobs are booming and Americans are working, and we're seeing some signs that inflation may be beginning to moderate. That's what happens when you build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out. The wealthy do very well and everyone has a chance. It gives everyone a chance to make progress. Now I want to be clear. With the global challenges we face, from the war in Europe to disruption of supply chains and pandemic shutdowns in Asia, we could face additional headwinds in the months ahead. Our work is far from over, but 2 things should be clear. First, the economic plan is working, and second is building an economy that will reward work. Wages are up this month, provide opportunity, help the middle class, and still have work to do, but we're on track.
Thank God. I feel so much better now. 0% inflation. Things are great. Everything is working.
So it's not. So
it's core inflation.
Yeah. So he took out food and gas.
Right. Well, no. He fixed gas because gas has gone down. So it's just barely under $4 up here. So what's that, like, I don't know, 75 cents cheaper or 60 cents or something like that. All the stuff that he has no control over, he says. But then he wants to take credit because it went down. And then Hassan has an ad going that she helped, release our oil reserves to lower the prices. Well, yeah, by sending them to China? That lowered the prices, huh? You're still paying $2 a gallon more than you're supposed to be.
Yeah, probably didn't even need to be that high, but yeah.
81 million votes right there. Smartest man he knows is Hunter Biden. He'll tell you that.
He did say that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of concerning things in that clip that if you're listening and you trust what that guy has to say, then you believe that, then yeah, it looks like things are picking up, but that's not the whole truth. You just got to look at break
It's
down.
not any of the truth.
Break down what he said. So he took out the cost of gas and food. He talked about, wealthy Americans are doing great. Well, why are they doing great and we're not?
Why? Yeah.
And he's like, there's a
Americans.
booming job market. Look at all these jobs we created. I haven't seen too many jobs actually created. I see a lot of open vacancies at the businesses that are around here. You know, this is local, but
He would have no jobs at all.
and I saw one report that said that some people are working 2 jobs.
Well, when you close the economy down, when you shut down businesses, when you put out small businesses out of business, 40% of the restaurants in this country went out of business because of COVID. What do you think is going to happen when you reopen? Oh, we added all these jobs. Yeah, because they lost their jobs. Oh, but we added all these jobs. We're so smart. Build back better. Yeah. We're going to spend almost $1 trillion. We're going to fight injustice and all this plaid places, the environmental injustice. We're going to plant trees, Steve.
$1 billion worth to plant trees?
$1.5 billion in trees.
We should start a tree farm and see if we can get any of that money.
Yeah, we should do that. So
Good
that way
job.
when you're starving to death, you can go eat a damn tree. Thank you, Joe Biden. On that note, let's go, Brandon. Fuck Joe Biden. Thanks for watching our last show. We'll see you on the inside or maybe around town, probably running fast from the IRS agents that are armed to shoot me now. Yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow, hopefully. Andrew, get bail money ready.